All right, folks. Today we're going to talk about character setting, and really symbolism, and how colors can be symbolic in what we read. So, as you know, writers and directors make all the choices in their movies, right? In their books, their short stories, etc. And so they control every detail of everything, right? And so a lot of times those details, even down to the color, is really important to the director's message in terms of characters, who they are, and also maybe some themes that are present. So um, the tricky thing about colors is that colors can mean different things symbolically in different places, right? So take, for instance, the color red and Santa Claus. Santa Claus wears red, right? And those could be for love and sacrifice. If you think about what Santa Claus does, according to tradition, is he gives gifts for free to children, right? And so that is definitely an act of love, and it is definitely an act of sacrifice. And you might say, well, yeah, but red is also Christmas color, and that's absolutely true. But green is also traditional Christmas color. So why isn't Santa Claus wearing green? Why is he wearing red, right? So I think you could definitely make the argument that the red is symbolic here of some of these archetypal or traditional ideas when we think of red. And one of those is love, right? Okay, another one that is really common associated with red is kind of different from love in a lot of ways, right? It's anger or passion. And this is the character Cyborg. So if you've seen the movie The Justice League, or if you follow comics, the Cyborg is a character who was in a car accident with his mom. And the car accident killed his mom. And his dad is a doctor who uses this advanced technology to save his son's life. He should have also died in the crash, but he doesn't because of the advanced technology. And the Cyborg blames his dad for not being there as one of the reasons they were in the crash. And he's very angry about his mom passing away. So he's got a lot of anger, he's got a lot of passion behind what he's feeling. And so while his main color isn't red, it is throughout. And, you know, cyborgs or robots also sometimes have a blue color, as you can see here, sometimes a green. So I think the red here was also another really specific choice by the creator of this and the director to show some of those feelings that he has and symbolize those things. Okay. Here's another character who's from the Marvel universe. I'm sorry, this is DC. Comic book guys, girls, please don't hold that one against me. Cyborg's DC, and Red Skull is Marvel. And the Red Skull is from Captain America series, in the original Captain American movie. And he is a general in the Nazi army, reports very closely, works very closely with Hitler, and he's one of the most ruthless generals out there, doing incredibly awful things in terms of how they treated the Jewish people and others that they were fighting in the war. So you could easily say that the Red Skull is a symbolic of evil, sin, violence. You know, some of the worst sins in our world's history, or human society's history, tend to be thought of as tied to World War II and all of the things that the Nazi Party stood for, the Holocaust, things like that. Not all the things they stood for, but the Holocaust and World War II. So that's something else to keep in mind. So same color, right? Different characters, stands for different things. All right. Now we can also have the same color mean different things within the same movie, because these are all different movies or different stories, right? So if you think about the Wizard of Oz, the city of Oz, everything there is green, right? And that could be a symbolic of wealth, right? Because this is the kingdom, this is the where the ruler lives, the Wizard of Oz lives there, right? So there's this piece of wealth there, the kind of capital. There could also be a sense of hope, right? Because you know, Dorothy hopes to get there and also hopes to get home, right? Now we have the Wicked Witch, who is also green. Very different character, very different things, right? So you could say that she is jealous of the attention, that her green could be symbolic of the jealousy that she has towards Dorothy for getting all this attention and love and admiration, or some of the other characters in the story, like Linda the Good Witch, or it could be her greed, her desire to take over and have those shoes for power, right? So that could be why she's green. Same story or movie, right? Colors, but they mean different things. Now, on the way to the Emerald City, or in the city of Oz, Dorothy takes the Yellow Brick Road. But on that path, everywhere in the movie, you see green, when she's with the characters. And to me, that could symbolize this idea of life and hope. So she starts off with just her and Toto, kind of really alone, but then she finds the scarecrow, she finds the Tin Man, she finds the lion, and so we are now on our way, a very hopeful and more signs of life around her. Um, on her way to Oz, right? So things progress and get better. There's some positivity there, right? So this is an example of green being used in the same movie or text, but for different reasons. All right. But these are also different aspects. Now, the next one is going to be the same character, same setting, right? But it means different things to different people. So if you're not familiar with the Punisher, he's kind of a lesser known uh, comic book hero. But the Punisher, in his before he became the Punisher, was kind of a special ops, black ops soldier. And it turns out that he might have been on some missions that weren't quite so kosher approved, that he may be doing things that were a little bit unethical, even though he didn't know at the time. So part of his dark colors represent the his past, right? His dark past. The Punisher, because of the things he was involved in and how powerful he is, his family was taken from him and murdered. And so that blackness also symbolizes the darkness and sadness that he lives in and that he deals with in his everyday life, because his family's gone and he's kind of, in a lot of ways, lost his purpose and happiness. Um, and then finally, the Punisher wears black to symbolize the fear and death that he hopes to inflict on his enemies. He's very much a anti-hero or anti-hero of vengeance and revenge, and comes from a place of darkness and anger, right? So all those things could be for black, right? For the color black, especially when he's wearing it. And a lot of the scenes in this TV show on Netflix are very dark and black too, not just his clothing. So this is an example how it can mean different things to different people, right? To his enemies, it means the black outfit means one thing. To him, it means something else, and it also references his past, which others are a part of. So this also shows some cultural identity, right? So, we could say that he became this incredibly dark character because of what happened to him. In terms of like emotional darkness, right? But we could also say that maybe he was always like this if he had a very violent life as a special ops soldier, right? Maybe he always had this inside of him, or was always okay with some dark ideas, dark thoughts, dark actions, violence more than some other people, because he was willing to take this job that not everybody's willing to take, right? So there is some cultural identity we see here, some cultural beliefs and values that we see here. And then he uses everything he's learned here to inflict pain on others, right? So there's something about this that could reveal some cultural truths about him if we think about setting and not just the time and place, but also the cultural values of those people being important. The same here. There is a sense of hope in at least two of these scenes, and there's a sense of maybe some wealth and life in the city of Oz and throughout Dorothy's journey. And so there are some cultural values here too that we see present. Now, the witch is sort of fighting against those. She's kind of an outsider, right? But overall, we can see that in this setting, this color represents something about the culture as well, not just the individuals or characters in there, right? Since all of that setting is green. Okay, so those are some things to think about when you think about colors and symbolism. So, the color, it's hard. This is difficult because the color can mean different things in different texts, or it could mean different things in different parts of the text, or it can mean different things to different characters in the same scene of the text, right? You really have to use some clues to kind of piece that together. And the great thing is that a lot of these answers are could be similar, like the idea of jealousy and greed could be somewhat similar, right? Wealth and life maybe could be similar. Anger and passion, definitely similar. Evil, sin, violence, all these are similar, right? And so, you may not choose the exact same word as someone else in class, as another classmate or another reader, but you could still be correct as long as you're kind of using text evidence and being thoughtful about your answer. So as you work through this, you might want to think about what are the characteristics does a setting, character, or object have? So like if it's an object, let's say it's a knife or a sword and it's a certain color, that could mean something. A shirt could mean something. If it's a piece of jewelry close to the heart or to the head, those could mean things, right? So what else do you notice about the object, character, or setting that is that specific color? How do the characters react to the color in question? When the characters come towards the Punisher and they see him, they're like, there's fear, there's dread, they're worried about what he's going to do to them, right? And so that's a big clue. Um, you know, this character acts very mean, jealous, greedy. There's obviously something going on between her and Dorothy. Some of that is revenge too for killing her sister, but she definitely wants the slippers, right? And so that's important. That's a clue to why she's green, the way she acts and the way she acts specifically towards Dorothy. Okay, so that matters as well. And then how have you seen these colors used in movies, television shows, books, and in real life? Like, that colors are symbolic and mean certain things all the time. Dark and stormy night hits in a movie, boom, something bad's going to happen, right? And so, and then that's also foreshadowing, but it's symbolic, right? So think about your personal experiences and what you've read and seen and just been around in the world, because we use colors symbolically all the time. Okay. The American flag's colors are symbolic, right? Just on and on and on. So, and then what could these colors symbolize, reveal about the character, or lead to a theme? Like, what theme could they lead to? What could they reveal about the character or characters? And how could they be symbolic? And what could they reveal about the cultural values of a setting? Okay. All right. So those are some notes on symbolism. As you think through those things, think about the colors that you're reading in your text or in the movies you're watching, and try to apply those and see some nuances and what answers you come up with. Now, the ultimate question: why is this hyperdoc this color blue?